Hey everybody, this video is called Keep Working, and tonight we're going to continue our pass-through study in the book of Exodus, looking at chapter 38, where we're going to continue watching the progression of the tabernacle's construction. So let's look at chapter 38. We'll start with verses 1 through 7. It says, "He made the altar a burnt offering of acacia wood. 5 cubits was its length, and 5 cubits its width. It was square, and its height was 3 cubits. He made its horns on its 4 corners. The horns were of one piece with it, and he overlaid it with bronze. He made all the utensils for the altar, the pans, the shovels, the basins, the forks, and the fire pans. All its utensils he made of bronze. And he made a grate of bronze network for the altar under its rim. Midway from the bottom, he cast 4 rings for the 4 corners of the bronze grating as holders for the poles. And he made the poles of acacia wood and overlaid them with bronze. Then he put the poles into the rings on the sides of the altar, with which to bear it. He made the altar hollow with boards." So we see here the fulfillment of the command in the description from Exodus chapter 27, verses 1 through 8. In verse 8 it says, "He made the laver of bronze and its base of bronze from the bronze mirrors of servant woman who assembled at the door of the tabernacle of meeting." So we see next the fulfillment of the command in the description of the bronze laver back in Exodus chapter 30, verse 17 through 21. "And there was a group of women in Israel who served God regularly by regular meeting to help the priests in the work of the tabernacle." In verse 9 through 20, it says, "Then he made the court on the south side. The hangings of the court were of fine woven linen, 100 cubits long. There were 20 pillars for them, with 20 bronze sockets. The hooks of the pillars and their bands were silver. On the north side, the hangings were 100 cubits long, with 20 pillars and their 20 bronze sockets. The hooks of the pillars and their bands were silver. On the west side, there were hangings of 50 cubits, with 10 pillars and their 10 sockets. The hooks of the pillars and their hands were silver. For the east side of the hangings were 50 cubits. The hangings on one side of the gate was 15 cubits long, with their 3 pillars and their 3 sockets. And the same for the other side of the court gate on this side, and that were hangings of 15 cubits with their 3 pillars and their 3 sockets. All the hangings of the court all around were fine woven linen. The sockets for the pillars were bronze. The hooks of the pillars and their bands were silver, and the overlay of their capitals was silver, and all the pillars of the court had bands of silver. The screen for the gate of the court was woven of blue, purple, and scarlet thread and a fine woven linen. The length was 20 cubits, and the height along its width was 25 cubits, corresponding to the hangings of the court. And there were 4 pillars with their 4 sockets of bronze. Their hooks were silver, and the overlay of their capitals and their bands was silver. All the pegs of the tabernacle and of the court all around were bronze." So we see here the fulfillment in the description of Exodus 27, verse 9 through 19, speaking of the courts with its pillars and the fine linen fence. In verse 21 through 23, it says, "This is the inventory of the tabernacle of the testimony, which was counted according to the commandment of Moses for the service of the Levites, by the hand of Ithamar, son of Aaron the priest. Bezaleel, the son of Uri, the son of Hur, of the tribe of Judah, made all that the Lord had commanded Moses. And with him was Aholiab, the son of Ahisamach, of the tribe of Dan, an engraver and a designer of weaver of blue, purple, and scarlet thread, and of fine linen." So we see the inventory is calculated out of half of a shekel, and per man 20 years old and up to 603,550 men. And Ithamar overs, but they did their big job well. And the estimated value of the materials used in the tabernacle today would have cost over $13 million easily. And on top of that, with the COVID inflation costs and the shortage of materials, you're probably looking at much higher than $13 million. And the tabernacle materials would weigh 19,000 pounds. And how did Israel get all the resources out in the middle of the desert? Well, Exodus 12:36 says that the children of Israel left Egypt with great resources because they plundered the Egyptians, who willingly gave Israel what amounted to back wages for their years of slavery. So we see that God used those who persecuted Israel to provide for these materials. In verse 24, all the gold that was used in all the work of the holy place, that is, the gold of offering, was 29 talents and 730 shekels, according to the shekel of the sanctuary. So a talent was approximately 70 pounds. So the tabernacle used approximately 2,030 pounds. In verse 25 through 28, it says, and the silver from those who were numbered of the congregation was 100 talents and 1,775 shekels, according to the shekel of the sanctuary. A bekah for each man, that is, half a shekel, according to the shekel of the sanctuary, for everyone included in the numbering of 20 years old and above, for 603,550 men. And from the 100 talents of silver were cast the sockets of the sanctuary and the base of the veils, 100 sockets from the 100 talents, 1 talent for each socket. Then from the 1,775 shekels he made hooks for the pillars, overlaid their capitals, and made bands for them. So we see the high amount of silver given as Exodus 30 verse 13 through 16 describe how the Israelites would give silver as part of a census to have a count in the nation. In verse 29 through 31, it says, the offering of bronze was 70 talents and 2,400 shekels. And with it he made the sockets for the door of the tabernacle of meeting, the bronze altar, and the bronze grating for it, and all its utensils for the altar. The sockets for the court all around, the base for the court gate, all the pegs for the tabernacle, and all the pegs for the court all around. So we see now the inventory of bronze, which resulted in approximately 4,900 pounds. And that's going to wrap up this video. As mentioned, it's all descriptive of covering things from what God has called for, and now we're seeing the accomplishment for the building of the tabernacle. And we'll see you next on Thursday as we're going to look at the making of priestly garments. I hope you have a great rest of your night. God bless.